Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sports Bay Show, Sunday edition.
Sunday.
And we got two great guests for you. You want to introduce the first one?
We do. We have Mike Hollis, former NFL kicker of 9 years, mostly with the Jacksonville Jaguars, on the show first.
And then we got on a fellow Byron. Go figure, there's more of me out there. So, his name is Byron Williams, formerly of the New York Giants, wide receiver.
Yes.
So it's going to be a fun show. But I want to get into a little topics here before we bring on the guest. What is up with these protests all over the place? What do you think, Eric? I know it's not sports related, but it kind of is, because these athletes can lead the way in trying to end these riots.
Yeah.
And you don't really hear many athletes coming out on this. Why?
Well, I don't know if I'd
Not a
say
lot.
that.
Not a lot. I haven't heard that many come out, though.
There was a lot of tweets I kind of came across. It's a weird time to be an American right now. It's weird. So.
And have you had a chance to see the Lance documentary? 30 for 30?
No, I haven't seen that yet. Have you?
Nope. What about what about the MJ one, The Last Dance?
No, I haven't seen any of that, and I'm sure you haven't either.
I haven't had the chance to.
No, so I haven't seen that. The UFC fight happened yesterday.
I was just about to ask you that, yeah.
So
Fight analyst, what happened? Tell us.
Well, Gilbert Burns won. I thought he would. He won on decision, and he's on a 7-game fights winning streak right now, and be interesting who he gets next in the jam-packed welterweight division.
So does this mean the end for Tyron Woodley?
No,
as they're saying.
No, I don't know who they are saying, but no, I don't think it's the end. I haven't heard anything where.
Well, I told you last show what they said, that they're possibly that this was his fight to break through, and if he didn't, this would put him way down in the welterweight division.
No, I don't think he's gonna be way down, because he was a third-ranked contender. Losing here, he's still, I don't know, top 6, top 7. He's 1 or 2 wins away from being right there in a champion, if he wants to. It being, up against he's probably 1 win away from a top fight again. So
then
I don't think it's that big of a drop for him. If he wants to, I know he's kind of getting up there in age.
So then you obviously saw the fights then, right?
No, actually, I didn't watch it. I did watch the main card, the highlight of it. So.
Okay, so
Yeah.
out of the highlights, then what fight did you thought was more entertaining out of the highlights? Which one was better? Was it the main event?
I couldn't tell you that. No, I couldn't tell you exactly who. I didn't watch him that intently. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You just saw highlights?
Yeah, just saw the highlights.
And what's this? I'm hearing that MLB is staring down a disaster that could last beyond 2020. Have you heard about this?
Well, I think we've all heard about the negotiations between owners and players and the players union. So
even with the latest players union laydown that they wanted from Max Scherzer, I think it was last Wednesday that came out.
He came out with that tweet. Yeah, and they can't give out all the information. You can't do that in negotiations, but. Yeah, it definitely can be lasting. But we kind of, there was already small talks of something like this happening. It's now amplified because of the coronavirus shutdown.
But are you thinking, though, it'll be damaging to baseball like what they're saying? Buster Olney put this out on the page saying it could be damaging to baseball.
I'd have to read that report to know exactly what he means by damaging. I'm guessing he means lasting effects, where it can go beyond this year.
I think that's where he's going for. Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's always a concern when you have owners and a players union and trying to meet. You always try to look at what's going on right now in the world, in the country, and sides can't meet, and you have destruction, disagreement, hatred.
So I hate to ask you again, are you for player or are you for owners? Or are you like me, you're half and half, where the owners are the ones who made the players this way? Are you half and half, or do you blame the side more?
I don't know
Where
if
are you at this?
Yeah, I don't think I know enough about each side. I mean, it's blatantly obvious the owners are billionaires and they have lots and lots of money, and they continue to profit off of those, the money they make, and they're cutting minor league players' salary from 400 to 300 a week, or not paying them starting tomorrow, like the A's are doing.
I know.
So
speaking of that, yeah, because I was going to have a few minor league players on in the future. I've been talking to some minor league players, so that's questions I definitely want to ask them.
Yeah, that'd actually be very interesting
and
topic of conversation.
Get their view.
Current minor league players, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I mean that'd be.
They're not playing right now like the pros, but they're losing out more than the pros. The pros are at least getting money.
Yeah, the pros are sad. I mean, look, the pros are, a lot of them. Even the minimum contract for a pro is like $500,000.
The minor leaguers ain't.
No,
they're not getting paid nothing.
But that's been going on for forever. Minor leaguers, that they don't make money outside of their signing bonus. Let's say they but even that, like a 10th round pick, a signing bonus might be $50,000.
Yeah, about.
That only goes. That doesn't go very long.
No,
and very far. And because they're getting $1,000 a month peanuts, and that's, I think, just during the season. When they're not playing, they're not making money.
No.
So it's like they get $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a year.
These honestly are the ones that should be pissed, not major leaguers. Major leaguers are at least getting paid. Minor league players are the ones that should be really
established
pissed.
Major league players right now. Yeah, they're not looking where their next meal is. They're not having to live with their parents.
No.
Right now, if they have kids, they're probably.
Think right now, if we were in a minor league system, we'd be having to go through what these minor leaguers are going through right now. No money.
Yeah, and the argument is every star started as a minor leaguer. Some had huge signing bonus, some didn't. I mean, there's many stars right now who came up and had that $50,000 signing bonus, and they had a struggle and they made it.
Yeah.
And they got that first contract. I know, a name that I could think of, Logan Forsythe. His former Rays.
Is he
Rays
still
player.
even playing?
Yeah, he's playing, but like he was grinding it out, and he got that big contract with the Rays. Big contract, meaning I think it was like $5-6 million.
Yeah,
which is life-changing.
He played 1 year with us, or
no?
couple?
We signed him
a couple.
We signed him for 1 year, and he played his way into, I think it was a 3-year deal before trading him. But I remember, I think it was a $12 million.
We traded him to the Dodgers, right? I thought.
Yes, for De Leon.
Yeah, and look how De Leon turned out.
Yeah,
and now he's with the Reds.
And Forsythe kind of he was very mediocre.
But he was a good tool player.
For the Rays, he was great.
Yeah. I
mean, his best years, I think he probably would agree, his best years were
But yeah,
in Tampa.
just think about it, though. You got to be feeling for these minor leaguers.
So the point is you got to feel for them, and they're the ones who legitimately
honestly, these guys are the ones that should be pissed off at the major league players, honestly, for complaining about money. When they're
I disagree, because
they should be. I mean, they're at least the major league players are getting money right now. The majority of them, at least, are getting money.
Okay, so the 40-man rosters they're not getting their contract though. They're getting
They're not getting their
full contract.
They're not getting their full contract. No, yes, that's what they're fighting against, because they've had their salary
I wonder what
cut.
they are getting right now.
half, I believe. That's what has the players pissed. Because they cut their salary in half because they were only going to play 82 games. The players were
but like a prorated contract, I think most players were fine with that. If you play half a season, then pay me half the amount. I think a lot of players.
No, they weren't. They want to play. They want all them. From what I'm hearing, they want all their money. This is what they're proposing. They want all their money, and they're more than willing to play double headers or triple headers to play the 162 season.
Oh, is that it? Oh, is that
That's
right?
what they want. That's what the players want.
Okay.
But if I was a player, though, yes, I love playing the game of baseball, but triple headers, double headers, that would take a damn toll out of your body. No matter how much you're playing ball, that would take a damn toll out of your body. It's not worth it.
That takes a toll. I mean, it already is. I mean, you sign up to play baseball. It's 162 games a year. That's a lot of baseball. It's a lot of wear and tear on your body. So you kind of sign up for that. But I think it was like the owners were proposing like a 70% pay cut to if you made more than $7 million a year, you're basically.
See, I didn't know that. That must be the latest because last time I heard they're down half right now. I heard.
What I saw was it was different. It was like the biggest stars were taking the biggest pay cut, and then the people who kind of at the league minimum, they were taking a much less than 70% pay cut.
Which isn't right.
It may have even been. I think it was less than 50% pay cut.
Which isn't right, but
So then the argument is as well, the biggest stars of the game, Trouts, the Harpers, the Scherzers, et cetera, are taking the biggest pay cut.
Yeah, and did you hear what Boris said, who has signed most of those players, who's a big influence on the league? Did you hear what he said?
No, what did he say?
To his clients?
What did he say?
Don't give in to what the owners want.
Well, he's saying the right thing. I mean, people don't like him a lot, and owners don't like to,
No, I think the owners hate him, even though he has an influence in the league. Yeah, I think the owners hate him.
But he's good. I mean,
but it's their fault anyway. They're the ones who proposed this no salary cap in baseball to begin with. That's what the whole bargaining agreement was about originally.
Right.
So it's their fault. They made the players this way.
Right.
One last topic I want to get into before we get into our guest. What is up with what is up in the NASCAR world? Have you tuned into any of it at all?
No, I couldn't tell you a lick of what's going on. You tell me, Byron.
I haven't either. That's why I'm asking you. All I know is I guess there was a race last night. I guess in Bristol.
Yeah. I mean, you know me. We've talked about this. I'm not a NASCAR fan, and
I was a long time ago when the Earnhardts and all that. When I knew everybody, now I don't know anybody. It's same like UFC as we talked about.
Right. So I couldn't tell you anything about that.
But all right, let's get into our guest, shall we? You want to introduce him once?
Let's do it.
All righty, let's do this. Kind of excited to have him.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, Mike. This is Eric. Welcome to the Sports Base Show with Byron and Eric. Good evening. How are you doing?
Good, Eric. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty well. Thanks for joining us. A few minutes of your time. Hope all is well with your neck of the woods. You still in Jacksonville?
I am, yes. Living the dream.
Nice. Yeah, I went to school up there in North Florida. I love the area up there, so I had to. Had to throw that in there.
My daughter is about to graduate from there. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we'll tell her swoop.
UNF, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. So we'll kind of get right into it here. First question I always like to ask is, talking to NFL players, is your experience on draft night. Now, I know you were undrafted. Now, when you finished your collegiate career, did you think that the professional football was an option and reality?
Yes, I did. What kickers typically will do, and at least in my case, and I'm sure a lot of other college kickers do this as well, is they compare their stats to, what's going on currently in the NFL with kickers. And I knew that, statistically, my field goal percentage wasn't great, but I knew that I had a pretty strong leg, and I was able to, put the ball pretty deep, and I had, some good control over my kicks, and still, continuing to work on form and perfect my craft. I coming from University of Idaho at the time was Division 1 AA. They're actually back down Division 1 AA again, but they moved up to Division 1A 3 or 4 years after I left. But anyways, the odds of somebody, even back then, the odds of me getting drafted from a 1 AA school, I didn't really think was an option. But and of course it didn't happen. So, but I was okay with that. I mean, like I said, statistically, my stats weren't that great. So I kind of knew it. But I continued to work hard and try to focus on getting better, and hopefully opportunities would come. And we had some other athletes on the team at University of Idaho back then, guys like Doug Nussmeier, if you remember him. He was drafted by the Saints, and also was after his career, he was a quarterback, of course, and after his career he got into coaching, and eventually after a few smaller schools, I guess, coaching, he ended up at Alabama as the offensive coordinator for a while. Then he was over at University of Florida down in Gainesville for a few years as an offensive coordinator as well. Now I believe he's a quarterbacks coach for the Cowboys now. But anyways, Doug and Jeff Robinson played in the NFL for a long time, and we had some running backs that were really good, Sheridan May and a bunch of other athletes on the team. So there's a lot of scouts that are always kind of floating in and out of the campus, and Coach John L. Smith was the football coach back then, and he was really willing to help me out. He really was on my side, and any scout that came through and would ask him who we thought was NFL worthy. I was definitely one of them, so that was a great help. And I had some more or less unofficial workouts with some teams that came through, but my road to make it to the NFL was a little different. I actually went into San Diego with the Chargers in '94. I was fortunate enough to get a position as a camp leg there, compete against John Carney, of course.
Oh wow!
He's a legend.
Right.
So I definitely knew going into camp that I was just going to be a camp kicker, and I just wanted to. I mean, I was honored to even have that opportunity to begin with, but looking back, you're thinking that, you're learning a lot of stuff, as a young kid, not even having a clue what's going on in the NFL, and now you're there. So ultimately I, spent training camp with the Chargers, and, they later told me that I almost beat out John, Carney, I was like honored to even hear that, but,
right.
Long story short, I went back to school after I got released, and then, of course, the general manager of the Chargers back then, Bobby Beathard, and my agent at the time, they told me that the World League was just popping up again, and so they said, don't go back to school, don't take any classes this semester because you'll be drafted in this World League. And not like they promised me I was going to get drafted, but they said there's a good chance, right? So of course I listened and followed the lead, and the draft came and went, and I wasn't drafted. So I was like, oh, okay, well, just another challenge that I have to overcome. And then I got an opportunity to play with the Jaguars, and, the rest is history from there.
Right.
Byron here at co-host as well. Did you know you held the team record in 3 different categories of points, games, and field goal attempts? Did you know that?
Well, I mean, I did. Here's the thing. I was the original kicker, so of course,
right.
I was gonna have some records at some point. And then Scobie came and played, I believe 10 years here in Jacksonville. I was only here for 7, and he was here, I believe, for 10. And of course, he beat, my scoring record and beat all-time field goal, field goal attempts and field goal makes. And I don't even know. The only record I know that I still have with the Jaguars is the first points ever scored for the franchise.
Wow.
And that one will never be broken.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Do you talk with Scobie? I know he's really engaging on Twitter, and he seems like a really cool guy. Do you know him?
Yeah, yes. Josh is a good dude. He's part of our, Jaguar alumni group now. We have an ambassador group that we go to games and we kind of promote the team and, do what we can to help, if they need autographs or, things like that. So we're always active in the community, and Josh has become part of that. And I see Josh occasionally at some events, and he's a very receptive, good guy, and always has the nicest things to say about me, and he's a good dude for sure.
Now, you went to the Pro Bowl in '97. How was that experience playing in that game?
It was awesome. It was probably the most amazing football experience of my life. Just being there and seeing, the atmosphere and the coaches and the players. You're in the same room with 100 other guys from both teams, and you're looking around thinking you're just like, it's like a dream, Terrell Owens and a lot of athletes. Jonathan Ogden, you can't miss him. The dude was a monster. Obviously still is, but I had good part of that too was the fact that year, Jaguars we did pretty well that year, of course, and we had 5 guys from the Jaguars go. I had Burnell and Baselli and Jimmy Smith and Brian Barker and myself, and Brian happened to be my holder too, so he's a punter and he's my holder, so I had the fortunate. I think at that time it was only the 4th time it had ever happened in NFL history where the kicker and punter went to the Pro Bowl in the same year. But I think there's been a lot more since then. But it was awesome. It was just a surreal experience to see the talent and Tim Brown and just all these guys. It was just an incredible experience. Warren Moon.
Yes.
I wore number 1, of course, because that's my number, and I was I was a chosen Pro Bowler, and Warren Moon was the first alternate. So I can't remember what quarterback decided not to go. So Warren Moon shows up a few days later in the week, and I walk in the locker room, and I'm not next to Brian Barker anymore. I'm next to Warren Moon, who's wearing number 2, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is Warren Moon, and he's wearing number 2. I feel bad. First thing I said to him when he walked in the locker room, I said, "Hey, Mr. Moon, would you like your number?" And he goes, "Oh, Mike." And he called me like Mike. He's like, "Yeah, Mike. He said, you were the first chosen, to Pro Bowl. This is your number. I'm good." So really nice guy too, by the way.
Right. Yeah, I'm a big Warren Moon fan. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks
by far.
in the league.
By far, and not even in Hall of Fame yet.
He was the 3rd quarterback to play in the game, of course. So he sat the bench until late in the probably 4th quarter. I can't remember when they put him in, but he brought us back and he won the game, and he was actually the game's MVP.
Oh, nice. As number 2, not number 1.
As number 2, exactly.
So obviously kickers, you have a lot of pressure because it's black and white. You miss a kick or you make it, right? There's nothing in between. Do you have a kick that was one of your most pressured kicks? And if so, what kick was that? Absolutely. The most influential kick, I should say, in my career, and it's because it kind of opened my eyes to my abilities, was what came in the second preseason it was in '96, and it was my second official year in the NFL. And in '95 with the Jaguars, I didn't do great. I think I was 20 of 27 or something on field goal. So I was definitely still a little nervous about my job and worried trying to make the team. And in preseason '96.
I had missed a couple field goals in preseason games. I don't remember if it was 2 in one game or 1 in one game, 1 in another game, but going into St. Louis to play the Rams, I had missed 2 prior to that game, and then I missed my first attempt in that game. So that's 3 kicks in a row I had missed, and I'm not feeling good about myself. And right at the end of half, we I don't know if it was a 3rd down or a 4th down, whatever down it was, but the clock was down to a couple seconds, and we had gotten the ball to whatever yard line it was to. Would have been a 54-yard field goal attempt, right? So Coach Coughlin sends out the field goal unit, of course. So I'm thinking, okay, great. Here I am trying to. I've missed 3 in a row. Now I've got to nail this 54-yarder. Talk about pressure, right?
Right.
So I line up the 54-yarder, and I think one of our guys came out late or something. And long story short, we had to delay a game. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't know if this is a blessing or not. Whether I originally thought that we were going to, punt it, but I'm thinking, well, wait, it's 4th quarter. I'm sorry, it's the 2nd quarter. It's right before half. We've got really nothing to lose, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to stay out. So Tom just kept the field goal unit out. That of course, we got backed up 5 yards, and so now it's officially a 59-yard field goal, and I drilled it. Right, and it's in St. Louis in a dome, and I hit it. So that kick there mentally for me was kind of a huge eye opener, and made me realize I can actually, make this, make these kind of kicks. And, I don't know what I was doing prior to that as far as worrying about making it, but it was a big confidence builder for me. So that kick there, and then another one, if I add another one, it would be the Buffalo game, in our very first playoff game against Buffalo, up in Buffalo. It was at the end of 96. Okay. So it's the first playoff game in 96, about a minute and 20-something seconds left in the game. We're tied up at 27, and I have to come out and kick a 45-yard field goal into a really strong wind, and it was really, really swirling a lot in Buffalo, as you can imagine. And I hit it really, really good, and it's going right down the middle. And of course, somebody came late from the outside to try to block the field goal and ran right into me, took my legs out. So the ball going right down the middle, thinking, okay, great, it's good. And the next minute I'm on the ground looking at the sky because this guy knocked me down. Well, Brian Barker, reaches his hand down and to grab my hand to help me up. He said, dude, it went through, man. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's going right down the middle, wasn't it? He goes, no, man, it took a sharp right and hit the upright. And, it was a doinker, as Chris Berman said on the announcement on the ESPN highlights. But it took a sharp right and hit the very top of the upright from 45. And luckily it was the inside of the upright, and then it actually bounced through. So that was another key. Plus, it put us on top. It was our very first victory in the playoffs as a Jaguar franchise. Then the very next week, we go on and knock off Denver Broncos in Denver. And that, again, ironically, that was the same score. It was a 27-30 game. And I ironically had 3 field goals in that game, too.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, that was an amazing run by the Jags. New franchise and everything. Yeah. So kind of keeping with the pressure, I've always wondered how kickers, how do you deal with such a high pressure? And is there advice you would give our listeners on dealing with pressure situations?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with pressure, it's all about your mindset, of course, and it's not really a standard answer, but it really comes down to what it is you think about the situation. I'm kicking an extra point in the game, the first score of the game, in the first quarter, you kick an extra point. How much pressure do you think you have there? Probably not a lot, right?
Right.
Well, in my sense, along with trusting my technique and form, I'm a lot different when it comes to, kicking technique, and I can talk for hours on that, so I won't get started. But with regards to the extra point, there's not a lot of pressure, but what you have to realize is every kick in the game is the same. It's not, there's nothing different about an extra point than there is a game-winning 50-yard field goal. It's the same kick. But what gets everybody in trouble, kickers obviously, is that they treat it differently. They've got to, they feel like they've got to be perfect. They got to hit it just right. They got to do something different. They got to, this is I have to make this. And again, the more pressure you put on making a kick, the more mental struggles you're going to have. And I think if I've used this term many times, you just dumb down the process And again, that has a lot to do with trusting your form and technique. And again, that has a lot to do with what I teach and what I do. And because I have my Pro Form Kicking Academy, which I teach all the time. But it's almost the backwards way of thinking about kicking. So most people think that the most important thing for a kicker when they're kicking a football is to put the football through the uprights. Obviously, it goes without saying that's exactly the goal, right? Well, what most kickers do is that priority becomes so important that they don't really focus too much on their technique, and they just end up athletically steering a football in a certain direction. The good news about what I've been taught as a kicker and what I'm teaching now is the fact that if you can get really good at your technique and form, you actually focus more on that. And then the result of you doing all those good things in your form and your technique and that specific kick, the result is the kick going through the upright. So it's a backwards mentality. You have to focus on what's the most important thing here. The most important thing is to do your form and technique, and then the ball will go where it's supposed to go. Most people think differently. They think the exact opposite. They think that the priority, the most important thing, is to make the kick. I didn't. It was a weird sort of sense, and I didn't do any mental imagery. I didn't really meditate. I didn't try to calm myself down. I just was focused on my form, and if I was confident with my form and technique, and I was hitting the ball true, and things just happen. You don't have to try any harder, and that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I got from Brian Barker, my holder and the punter for the Jaguars for many years, more or less my mentor when I got in the league. He told me, he said, "Listen, man, you don't have to do any more on game day than you do on a day of practice. There's nothing different. The field is still 100 yards long. The goalposts are still, 18.6 or whatever they are. And, there's nothing different, so don't treat it any different. As a matter of fact, treat it less important because you've got the adrenaline going already. The excitement of the game is already there. That's your power. That you're not going to kick it lightly. You're not going to be lazy. You know that obviously there's fans watching. There's a million people watching on TV. Just that you're already excited. So just focus on relaxing and doing your form, and don't try any harder. A lot of people think a lot of kickers second guess themselves, and I was doing that early on in my career. And then once I kind of started learning, plus the thing that I just mentioned about Brian, what he said to me, I really took a strong look at that and thought, yeah, heck, he's right. It's really no different. There's nothing different on game day. So that's really where the mental part of kicking comes in my sense of my kicking world.
That's awesome. I'm a big mental I like to study the mind and stuff like that. So I'm fascinating. We could talk for hours on this, but we won't bore the listeners and Byron too. So.
I'm not bored by it. It's interesting. I mean, the mindset of a kicker. I didn't think went down in that.
Yeah, no, I'm a big.
I didn't think it.
I have to learn that stuff.
I mean, I knew you guys had some pressure on you guys for every time you make it. I mean, for God's sakes, look at Cody Parkey. I mean.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it went like that. Like it's crazy to think that you guys have that much pressure.
Yeah, well, the thing is, too, is that you add a lot of pressure to yourself if you're obviously trying too hard to make the kick. And what really happens is kickers get this mindset where when a kick is that important, they kick it very carefully and they kick it not to miss it. Why would you do that? Just kick it like you've done a million times on the practice field across the street. There's no difference.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, we could go on for hours and hours here. But we do want to thank you, Mike, for joining us for a few minutes of your time. Love to have you back on the show to talk. When the season starts and we can talk some Jaguars football. I'm always up for that. And thanks for joining us.
Sure. Yeah, hit me up anytime.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike.
All right, guys. Take care. Have a good night.
Thanks,
you too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Wow.
Mike Hollis, everyone, kicker of the former NFL kicker.
Former NFL kicker with the Jaguars.
Mostly with the Jaguars.
Wow. I know. I'm hearing him. I was bored. Come on.
But no, I could. Some people I could get nerded out there and geek out over just things of the
It's
mind.
just I never knew how much pressure kickers had, and but I should have known. I mean, because look at what Cody Parkey went through.
Well,
but
he the name after name. I mean, Cody Parkey. Look
but
at
he at least
Aguayo.
But he at least made it fun though and interesting because he went on what was it, Today Show or whatever after that kick, and just made fun of it right after it happened.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
at
least he's understanding.
Each person deals with that differently, and
yeah.
If he thinks to laugh about it helps, and
right to take the stress. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we want to get into our second guest.
Let's do it.
Former Giant wide receiver in the 80s, played under Bill Parcells. Had a lot of good Hall of Famers on that team those years.
It was early 90s?
No.
Was it 80s?
Late 80s, yeah.
Late
80s.
Okay. Sorry, Al, you're right.
Another Byron, so go figure.
Oh boy,
I'm
Byrons
excited.
on the show.
I'm excited about this. So another Byron. Not many Byrons out there, but he played for your Giants. So let's get a hold of him right now.
Hello?
Hey Byron, welcome to this edition of Sports Bay Show. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Byron?
Good.
Hi, Byron. This is Eric. This is the one Eric on the show here. Got two Byrons here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, Eric. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Thanks for joining us for a few minutes of your time. We do really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you guys have invited me.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on and sharing your most precious moments with us.
On the football field.
I mean, we're happy to have you. So I want to get right to it. My first question to you is, I know you played for Bill Parcells. What was it like playing under him, and did you ever get into scruffles with him playing?
No, Coach Parcells is very point blank, no nonsense. You really can appreciate him. I was actually drafted by Green Bay and Barkstar, and then I was the last guy that was cut and went to Bill Parcells in the middle of the season. And I became a starter as a rookie for Bill Parcells. But I remember my first encounter. I left my playbook at the hotel room when I first got there, the first week, and he let me use his car to go back and get my playbook. And so he was definitely a player's coach. He had a lot of nicknames for guys, and guys gave him nicknames. I think Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson, they first initiated the name Tuna. And but we had a lot of good times behind the scenes with Coach Parcells.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's a legend for sure. So what was it like your draft night? So you're drafted in 10th round. Take us through that, and obviously that's probably one of your goals. You know, you work all your life to get drafted. So how was that night like for you?
Well, it was of course I was considered to be in the best draft class coming out that year in 1983 with Elway Marino.
Wow.
And all those guys. And I actually went to UT Arlington, which was not a big name school. Right. I mean, I broke my ankle the 10th game my senior year. I didn't get to play number 10 game my senior year, but I had 8 touchdowns, had about 30 catches. But my 40 time was very outstanding. I ran 4.28. My best 40 time was 4.23.
Wow.
But my combine time, because my ankle wasn't completely healed, was around a 4.3 flat, somewhere in there. So I was one of the fastest guys at the combine that year. And so, but I was able to go because I was living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. There's a lot of scouts going to SMU and TCU. And at that particular time, you got Eric Dickerson, Craig James,
right.
And then in TCU had this Stanley Washington and all those guys like that. So it was a very good area to be in for college recruiting during that time. And so it was really good to get the exposure that I need. And then we had a couple of guys that was already playing in the NFL that was from my university. The year before, we had a tight end that go to 33rd pick, I think, the Green Bay, named Gary Lewis. And so we did have a little recognition, and a lot of scouts would come through, and because
they could fly into Dallas, and we had easy access to the airport. So it was really good to get the exposure.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. So
But
yeah. Go ahead.
but my rookie year, I ended up starting like the last 5 or the last 4 games, and I had three games over 100 yards. My first NFL touchdown was against Lester Hayes in the Coliseum out in L.A. I had 126 yards, and then I had another 108, I think, against Seattle the next week. And then, of course, we was at a real cold game against St. Louis. I don't think it was St. Louis quarterback there that I didn't do too much there. Then the last game was against Washington Redskins. I had another 126 yards. So I had, out of the last 4 games, I had 3 of the games I had over 100 yards for receiving as a rookie. And that's kind of how my NFL season took off. And then going into my second year, the first 3 to 4 weeks, I actually was the leading receiver in yardage. I had 167 yards against the Philadelphia Eagles and a 65-yard touchdown. So then the next week I had my NFL touchdown against the Cowboys. So it was really good because I wanted to be a Cowboy growing up watching Drew Pearson, those guys. And when we went to the Combine in '83, I got a chance to meet Coach Landry and Gil Brandt and those guys. We flew all back on the plane, and Coach Landry said, "Byron, what can I do for you?" I said, "Coach, if I can get a football from you, that would be great." So that Monday, he told Gil Brandt to have me a football, and I received my first NFL football from Coach Tom Landry before the draft, and then I got a personal letter from the head coach of the 49ers back then. And it was, it's really good to get those type of letters and get the confidence going from some outstanding coaches and legend coaches like that.
That's awesome. I was my next question was kind of leading into kind of what you're going about, but do you have a favorite NFL moment? I mean, those sound like a few favorite moments.
Yeah. Well, I actually, by me growing up in Texas and playing with the Giants and playing against the Cowboys, I had a 62-yard touchdown against the Cowboys, and it's on my little highlight tape that I show them. I go and speak to the kids about living out their dreams, and dreams do come true.
Yeah.
That was a special moment for me to score against Everson Walls, and me and Everson Walls together about right before this coronavirus hit. We was out speaking to the kids, and Everson Walls was telling them how I burned him for 62 yards, and so it's good. Even 30-some years later, 30 years later, you get to live the moment and get to see some of these NFL guys. So since I've been in the leadership position here in Dallas since 2010, and I get to work with a lot of the former Cowboys. We have about 800 former players that live here in our chapter, and so we do a lot of good things together in the community and outreach with the kids. So it's good. It's good sometimes to keep those things alive and let kids know that.
Yeah.
Even though we play for different teams, but we still have the same goal in life, and that's to keep the achievement and to keep each other supported by doing community outreach stuff and stuff like that.
That's awesome. At times that might even be bigger than your football career. I mean, your influence of the youth. That's awesome to hear. That really is good stuff.
So I want to jump into my next question. I want to know, when you played, who was the leader in the locker room? Was it Phil Simms, Lawrence Taylor, or was it somebody else?
Well, on the offense, it was definitely Phil Simms, and we had a guy named Ron Earhart. He was the offensive coordinator, but on the defensive side, it was definitely Lawrence Taylor, Harry Carson, and then Coach Parcells was both the defensive guy, and then we had Coach Belichick over there. So we had some great coaches. I mean, some of those coaches went on. Romeo Cornell, the coach of Houston now, he was the head coach at Cleveland for a minute and head coaching for a while, but he's been defensive coordinator for years. And of course, everybody know Bill Belichick. He was always walking around the locker room with his pen and pad, putting strategy and strategic things together. And, like he was always, creating mismatches for our defenses. And then back then, we ran the ball 60% of the time and threw the ball 40% of the time. We were more like a run offense. Rob Carpenter, Joe Morris, and Bush Wolfo, and Anderson, those guys, Tony Gabbard, all those running backs back in the day. We back then we always had the tight end. We threw to the tight end a lot. So back then we were, like I said, 60% run, 40% pass.
Nice.
Yeah, so we had Byron Williams on the call. I wanted to ask you, since you played in a different generation than the NFL now, what do you see is the biggest difference in the game than when you played?
Well, it's definitely more exciting with the mismatches. You got guys that can run all over the place with the linebackers and the defensive linemen. They're not as bigger as they were back in my day. The pads are a lot different. Mm-hmm. We had the big Bucky pads on, and these guys know how to wear any kind of pads. But the schemes of the offense is phenomenal, with different mismatches and offenses. And, back then we had what we call a passing tree. Everything was really dictated on numbers and distances. Right now you can run routes, adjust the routes just based off of what the defenses are giving these guys. So it's more dynamic. I mean, with the motions and the mismatches, they run 5 receivers, and it just created the game so much better. It's a faster game. Guys are really, really on special assignment. If you know about Tom Brady, you know that he's constantly in his playbook creating and thinking ahead 2 or 3 plays ahead of time. Well, back then we didn't do as much as that, finesse type stuff. We just ran sets and went with those sets. But now each play, they come off the field and look at the computer and the iPads, and they see exactly from real time what the defense is playing and what the offense is playing. And then it's really a mismatched game now, and whoever has the best can make those quick adjustments, can have the advantage of the other teams.
Now 85, and I think Vikings had a good defense those years as well. So what was it like playing against defenses like that?
Well, it was really, really amazing because the monsters of the South or the Midwest and the game that we played the year that the Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl, it was like 40 below that weekend, and it was the coldest game I ever played in up until that time. But you had Mike Singletary and Richard Denton, those guys, hard defenses to play against. And of course, we had one of the best defenses as well with our amazing linebackers, Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson and Paul Banks and those guys, and Gary Reasons. So we had a lot of great. So it was good to go against those defenses because we see defenses every day in practice that were just as good as most of the defenses that we faced, which gave us a little bit more confidence to play against those defenses. But back in the day, Rex Ryan, Coach Ryan, Buddy Ryan, he had his defense solid. I mean, those guys was really, really good. And of course, they had Refrigerator Perry and those guys. So it was really good to go against. I remember I caught a 27-yard pass that year against in the playoffs. That's probably the longest catch that the defense faced in the playoff going into the Super Bowl. But I just think that, back then it was a whole different case scenario. Those defenses really dominated. And it's true what they say, defense do win championships, and that was a reflection of the Chicago 85 Super Bowl team.
Wow. Coming from an offensive guy.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Wow. So we like to ask this question a lot here to our football guest. Obviously, we know there's going to be a season somewhere.
Okay.
Who do you see playing here in Tampa in the Super Bowl, and who do you see winning it?
Well, this is I'm coming to the Super Bowl. I'm going to do a football camp down there. I did one last year in Miami, but I think this might be the first year that the whole city might be in the Super Bowl with what Tampa's doing with the Bucs, what they're doing with their team in the offseason. Right. They're definitely going to be a contender. It's going to be about who can stay the healthiest, but it's going to be fun to watch football this year because you got a lot new acquisitions for his personnel, and of course you can never go against Tom Brady. He's just amazing, and but I hope to see you guys make history down there in Tampa. Maybe
nice.
Host the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl.
That's what my co-host is hoping for.
That would be fairy tale. Dream for me. Yeah.
Not me personally. I don't really care for the dude. I'm not a Brady guy.
He can't appreciate greatness.
I'm a.
Oh man, I can't believe that. That's hard to believe, Byron. You got to see talent for what it's worth. I mean,
I'm a Charger guy. I'm a Charger guy.
You're what?
Charger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been since the LT and Antonio Gates and all them winning teams, but they could never win a Super Bowl, unfortunately.
But they definitely have a good quarterback. I like the quarterback they got from Oregon. I think they give him a year or two of getting used to the timing and the speed of the game. A lot of people don't realize how hard it is to make that adjustment from college to the NFL. Not too many people are going to be like a John Elway or Dan Marino, but for as quarterback goes. But
right.
It's going to be fun to watch those guys mature and become good.
Right. But yeah, I mean, we definitely thank you here for coming on, spending a few moments with us. We appreciate it. Is there any social media you want us to have our guests follow you by?
Yeah, it's at Byron Williams, and then of course I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on the NFL board of directors for the NFL Players Association. I just got reelected, so I got 3 more years of being on the board. So I'm helping a lot of NFL former players with the benefits and things that the wellness and health related issues that we are concerned about. And hopefully, football is one of the best games ever. So I'm glad to be a part of it, but also glad to help these former players who have made the game what it is today. So
right.
We're excited about this year's football and next year's football. And of course, we love giving back to our young people because, we got a lot of great young people out here that's excited about playing and have an opportunity to play on the next level, whether it's college or the NFL. So, I'm just so glad and happy that America have football because it's one of the best games ever invented.
Absolutely. Well said on that. Yes. But yeah, so thanks for joining us, Byron. I'd love to have you on the show again later, when the football season comes and we could, talk a little football, a little more football as we can all the time.
When it comes on, yeah.
Yeah, so
we need it. We need sports.
Yes, do need sports back.
But I'm in touch with a lot of NFL players, and of course I'm real close to the president of the Tampa Bay chapter. His name is James Harrell, down there with the NFL Players Association. So anytime you guys need some more players, we have a lot of great players that can give some insight to the fans because we love our fans like we love you guys as well. So you keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
you. You guys, it's good. It's good to have, be a part of what you're doing as well, to give people a little bit more insight and excitement about what football is all about. It's a great game. I think this game is the best game ever.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
And we love the word. Yeah, we love
yes.
it. We're always looking for guests, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll link back up with you, Byron, and we'll let you go and enjoy your night. And thanks again. Thank you for joining.
Okay, thanks, Derek. Thanks, Byron. Appreciate you guys.
No problem. Have a good night. Stay safe.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good night.
Wow, very insightful.
Yeah,
who would have thought? I mean, he from an offensive guy going up against the defenses.
Yeah,
he did. Who would have thought he'd have that much knowledge?
Yeah, and offensive guys, his defense wins championships.
He should have been a quarterback if you know what defenses did.
I don't know, when you're running a 4, what do you say? It's fastest 4.23.
Yeah.
40.
Yeah.
No, I think wideout was
more of an option.
Was a good spot. Yeah.
I mean, but he did, Kyle. I mean, may not be a Hall of Fame career in his 4 seasons, but he did good in his 4 seasons.
No, he had a great season. I mean,
he had almost 1,100 yards, averaged 18.6 yards a catch. I mean, come on.
No, he had a great career.
Great
right?
career.
No, you can't dispute that.
And he was going up against, like, he had a good receiving core in those 80s with those teams. So, I mean, he wasn't the only one Phil Simms was throwing to.
Phil Simms. That's.
I mean, come on. Who could say that? Being thrown a football by Phil Simms.
And practicing on the other side was LT.
LT, I know.
Yikes.
Yeah, I hate to practice with that. And then the other guys, he said, Gary Reason's on that defense.
Yeah, it was a good defense.
Oh, man.
That was a good defense.
Good defense. But definitely glad to have him on again. But
that was great. Yeah.
What do you think of him trying to get us more on the Tampa chapter, though, for alumni? That'd be awesome.
I mean, that would be... I'm a little speechless right now. That'd be awesome. It really would be. So, yeah, big things happening here at Sports Bay Show.
I did also want to bring this up to you. There was a notification that I got. Remember the one guest that we had a couple weeks ago, Edward Smith, that was on the radio?
Yeah.
He started up his radio thing again.
Oh, good.
And he said he's going to have us on really soon.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
For the radio station out there in Atlanta.
Yeah, so we'll keep you guys updated when that happens, and
then
listen to that.
Also, we want to tell you this too before we head off air. I've been in talks. Eric's going to be with talks too after the show, but we are now linked with Bucks Media and Set the Sales podcast. So we share a bunch of their shows. They share a bunch of ours. Get shout outs.
Yes.
So shout outs to them. They have a good show. Go listen. At Set the Sail podcast. Listen to it. But yeah, they're going to help us get, and we're going to have them on soon, and they want us.
Yeah, it's all about collaboration.
And speaking of, after the show, James Ludeman that you see up there on our chat, he wants to come on. So does the other people, but they also want us to come on their show as well.
It's great. Yeah, let's. Never going to turn down. I'm talking a little Buccaneers, a little NFL.
Exactly.
Action.
And plus, they're also too with the well-known. They anywhere between 1,500 to 2,000 views. So I mean, they're pretty popular. They're pretty popular.
Yeah, something to inspire to be.
And they're on the FanStream Sports app. So
good stuff. Yeah, good stuff.
Download that. Listen to them along with the other good podcast that's on there. So, but. Yeah, before we head off here...
Who do we got on the show for Friday? Big show.
Big show.
Big show.
Big show. We got The Rookie.
The Rookie.
If you ever seen the movie, I haven't, honestly. I have yet to see the movie.
Okay, your homework is to watch the movie before Friday.
I can try.
Can you commit to that?
I can try, yes. So we have on Jim Morris.
Jim Morris, The Rookie.
And we have on... He wasn't big... But he's big in my eyes because he's a Padre. Shout out to the Padres.
Look, I always say if you make it in the professionals, no matter what sport, you're vastly more talented than anyone that walks this earth.
Anywho,
so
we'll have on Alex Henshaw. I know Morris is confirmed, but Henshaw I have to get back with. But right now, those are the guests.
So two baseball guys.
So before we leave you off here. Follow us on Facebook, our main page, Sports Bay Show. Our group page is still Tampa Bay Sports Bandits, but that'll be changed. And YouTube, what is it? It's also Sports Bay Show, I believe.
Sports Bay Show, yes.
And then, lastly, Anchor, Sports Bay Show with Byron and Eric.
Yes.
Which is on Spotify. So subscribe and like all those. So we thank you guys for listening. Stay safe out there. Any last words?
See you Friday.
See you Friday.